Hello, this is Amy Harris, and I'll be showing you how to do a peer mark assignment in TurnItIn using MyFire at SEU. First of all, I've opened up my course and I've turned on the editing. So you'll see that the boxes are available to add activities. In week 14, I'm going to add an activity from assignments 2.2. I'm going to click on TurnItIn. This will create a different kind of TurnItIn assignment than maybe you're used to using. The system will ask us what kind of assignment type we want to use, and for our first part we need the paper assignment. All this does is create a pool of papers that the students submit, and then papers are pulled out of this assignment for us to do peer review. You can add point value to this. I don't for the first part, I will for the second part. I'm going to change the date to April. And so we have a start date, we have a due date, and we have a post date. The post date is merely signifying when these papers will be available for peer review. There are optional settings here at the bottom. I'm not going to worry about them for the sake of this video, but if you have any questions about it, you can call me and ask me later on. That's no problem. So we've submitted the assignment, and you'll see that it now appears on our screen with the available from date, that's the start date, the due date, and the submit link for your students to use to put their papers in the pool. Okay, so the first part has been created. Now we have to create the second part that actually allows the students to do peer review. So again, our editing is on. We scroll down to our week. Sorry if you're getting motion sickness. You can see that we have intro right here. That's the first assignment we've created. We're going to again go to assignments 2.2 and add a TurnItIn assignment. TurnItIn will recognize that we've already done the paper assignment, so we now want to move on to the peer mark assignment and click next step. There are more steps to this part of the assignment. First of all, we have to tell it where to draw papers from. So that's the intro to the honors thesis that we just created. I'm going to put in a point value, and if the students do the review as is lined out here, they'll get 10 points, and you'll see that it's very easy to control this. So the start date is 1 minute after the post date on the last assignment, so it starts at 1 minute after midnight. I'm going to give them a week to do the peer review. So that puts us at the 13th, and then the post date will be right after that, so they can see what other people have said about their draft. We click on Save and Continue. Now, this is wonderful because it will allow either the system to distribute the papers, or you can allow your students to select which papers they want to do, which usually means they pick their friends, and you can require them to do a self-review if you want. Now, I have 12 students in my class, so I'm going to ask them to review 6 papers. If you have 25 students, you probably don't want to give them half the class, but just give them a good number so that everyone gets some peer review. I don't let mine select. I like it to be more randomized, but you can do what you want. I'm going to click Save here, and then down here I'll click Save and Continue. Now this next step requires that in the libraries you've already entered some questions, and that'll have to be a video for another day. But for my purposes, I'm going to add questions based on what I've already put in my library. So I add the questions for the introduction peer review, and you can see that the wonderful thing about these questions is you control how long the answer gets to be. So like this one, the minimum answer length is 10 words. So they can't just put yes, no, maybe. They have to actually write something that has some meaning, and that's why I feel free to assign points if they've done the questions. So I click Add All Questions. It's going to add that basically as a rubric to the review process, and I click Save and Finish. This takes us back to the assignment now. So this is the second part. It's available starting 1 minute after midnight on Sunday. The due date is a week later. The students will click submit to go in and get a paper. I know it's not intuitive at all, but just tell your students, click the submit link even though you're not submitting anything. And the second assignment will always show that there are 0 submitted assignments. Don't be alarmed by that. All right, so that's the basics of creating a peer mark assignment in TurnItIn. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call at the library at extension 5060 or email me. I'll be glad to set up a time to work with you. Blessings.